Better late than never, right? Better late than never. Oh my God. Better late than never. And I just realized that when I sent y'all that fucking email, I put 5:15 on there. But better late than never, though. Better late than never. See what we got here. Carrington Morris, what up, man? I know it's gonna be kind of late, y'all getting in here because I'm coming off late. Lion, what up, man? Mr. O, what up, man? Terrell Evans, what up, dog? Finally caught a live good. Hey. I'm not gonna be going in this time slot a lot, man. As we move further in the summer, because I want to touch grass like the rest of y'all, I might move up, bump up my times on Friday to where maybe I go at like 11:30 or 12 for the first one, and then go at maybe like 3:30 or some shit for the second one. Straight up. We all want to touch grass. And damn it, we all deserve to touch grass. So, rest of y'all get in here, man. Stefan, what up? Yeah, I'm gonna keep giving these tellers the goddamn business. Keep giving it to them, right? But tonight we go give one of these fake ass conservatives the business, and I'm gonna explain to y'all exactly what conservative is, man. The Republican Party, man. Republican Party, man. Y'all gotta, yeah, y'all gotta start doing some gatekeeping. Let me tell you that right now. The Republican Party needs to start doing some gatekeeping. I mean, you in North Carolina, it's do it even really. I think it does snow in the mountains because I saw some of them games at App State and it looked pretty snowy there. But you got to realize, man, when it get cold here, it's a total death. Like it's no leaves on these trees out here, none, not one single leaf. The grass is still brown. The grass is still dead, man. Straight up. The hell you say? Send me a link to that. Send me a link to that so we can have all buns, no sausages, part 3 in this bitch. Chill 1983 writes, have you heard that females are paying up to $100 for speed dating events in New York City and men haven't been showing up? Yeah, send me a link to that, bruh. You know I'm gonna have a field day with that. Send me a link to that. Straight up. Yeah, send me a link to that, man. Gotta send me a link to that. Shit. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that. No, I didn't know. $100, huh? Huh. Prime VA say so. No one wants to go to speed date if it's for black women. No. Bad weaves, bad attitude, bad bodies. No, hell no. And in New York City, in New York, With all of these foreign women here, nah. That's one thing, man. I would think if you operate logically as a so-called black woman in New York, with all of these different foreign women here, you better be the most natural hair wearing this, mile running this, stairmaster running this bitch in captivity. Shit. Hey man, hey, bruh. Man, preach. Carrington Moore say, my question to women is, how do you lose at your own game? Y'all control access to pussy. Y'all control access to pussy, and y'all got motherfuckers don't even want to access it. Motherfuckers don't even want to access it. Y'all control access to pussy. Basically, if it's a buyer's market, right? Dating is a buyer's market. At the end of the day, but the terms of purchase used to be so easy. The terms of purchase used to be easy. Now y'all have complicated the transaction. Y'all have complicated the transaction. There's no social contract. I was talking to a woman today that don't even know what the hell that means. I'm like, you know, it's like an unwritten set of rules, you know what I'm saying, or an unwritten set of reasonable expectations. I mean, define dating out. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Lion. I'm gonna get your comment too. Prime VA writes, dudes from NYC be on panels capping. They swear black women in New York date out a lot. I'm gonna have to explain this to divestors, man. I've been trying to tell divestors this same message ever since 2015, 2014, my fault. Sucking dick is not dating. Leaning across the console of some dude's FJ Cruiser or Toyota Tacoma crew cab and sucking his dick is not dating. Dating implies that y'all actually have a relationship out of sex, outside of sex. You know, maybe talking on the phone, uh, going to places, being seen in public together, spending holidays together, a couple of weekends together. That's what dating is. That's dating. Seeing somebody a couple of times a week and sucking their dick in their vehicle is not dating. That's because it's a lot of black men as cucks. Prime VA writes, dudes be on these panels encouraging black women to date out, but shame other black men for doing it because they cucks. Yeah, yep. Well, they changed everything to fit a narrative. Cortez Smith. Cortez Smith writes, black women changed the definition of dating to fit a narrative, just like they changed the definition of the word mammy to fit a narrative. Chill 19, man. Thanks for the cash app. Don't let that brother be alone. All right, man. The subject that we're going to talk about tonight, and this is going to be a platinum roast. I just want y'all to know, I don't care. This is going to be a platinum roast, just so y'all know. This is definitely a motherfucking platinum roast. I don't give a fuck if we ain't got a lot of people in this motherfucker. It's a platinum roast. We are going to bring to the stage a white conservative named Jared Taylor. Y'all heard about that? Colorado might legalize prostitution. Shit. I mean, we already there as a country anyway. What is a conservative? A conservative is somebody that pretends to be conservative and wraps it in a veneer of racial politics. Right? Now, where does the word cuck comes in? The word cuck comes into the conservative because many of these allegedly conservative men have abject cases of penis envy. They think about FBA men so much that you gotta wonder, is this some type of homoeroticism? Right? And I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Republican Party needs to do some gatekeeping. The Republican Party needs to do some gatekeeping. They need to they need to. It's a kind of a weird thing to watch, right? Shalom. It's a weird thing to watch. It's kind of strange to watch a bunch of people, and trust me, trust me, trust me. Make no mistake about it. A lot of these conservatives are actually agents of the Democratic Party and the 12 families, right? Matter of fact, virtually all of them are. Nick Fuentes, all of them. They all are, virtually. They are here to make the Republican Party look bad, to minimize their numbers, to act as a balancing force in the media. Because think about this. Every year, there's a general election. I'm going to remind y'all of this fact again. Every year that there's a general election, the Democrats start off at an automatic 250 to 211 electoral vote disadvantage. Right? So, in conjunction with the media and the education system, they act as a way to mitigate him too. Yeah, Matt Walsh too. They act as a way to mitigate more people from turning into Republicans. Because see, what the 12 families want is for the Republican Party to face a demographic winner and get phased out. So then they can turn this into a technocratically administered communist state without having to fight a bloody revolution to do so. So if y'all ever read David Icke books and they talk about the totalitarian tiptoe, this is definitely part of that. This is definitely part of that. Right? But the Republican Party needs to do some gatekeeping. It's very odd when you listen to some of the ideological positions of these people that claim to be so conservative, right? But when you listen to them talk, they damn near sound like a Democrat from 1854. But you calling yourself a Republican? What do you, The Republican Party needs to do some gatekeeping. They need to start screening people. Fuck all that conservative shit. Are you a Republican? Are you a Republican? Do you know the origins of the party? Do you know the history of the party? Yeah. They all playing the part, science guy. Science guy writes, Ben Shapiro is another one. A lot of these dudes are agents for sure, and many of them seem to have failed acting backgrounds. Yep. Kind of the same way that they send all of the failed rappers over here to the manosphere. Follow me? All right, man. Let me bring this lame motherfucker to the screen so I can clap his motherfucking ears together. I already know that dick sucking ass bitch is gonna probably try to put a motherfucking do some copyright shit. I whatever, man.
Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. What is race realism? It's a return to common sense. People who should know better have blinded themselves to the obvious. Race is a biological fact, and human races are different. We'd like to think that not.
You know what? You right, motherfucker. Human races are different. Human races are different. And I'm going to show y'all exactly how different we are right now. Mm-hmm. Y'all heard what he said now. Fair use. Yeah, human races are different. You're right about that. Let me show you just how different human races are. Now, what I'm about to say is not meant to be taken as racism, right? This is a biological fact. The original human beings, the only real human beings on the earth, the real only total human beings on this earth are so-called black people, especially Shemitic black people, right? We have the most ancient DNA. Actually, the most ancient DNA that they can find does not come out of Africa. The most ancient DNA that they can find actually comes out of South Carolina, right? So Jared Taylor talks about how human races are different. Yeah, you're right. 41,000-year-old Neanderthal bones reveal a chilling pattern of Neanderthal cannibalism. Right? 41,000-year-old bones reveal a chilling pattern of Neanderthal cannibalism. So you're right, Jared Taylor. We are different because this is the origin of your racial group right here, right? New analysis of Neanderthal bones from Belgium indicates targeted cannibalism of outsiders may signal territorial conflict before their regional disappearance. A detailed examination of Neanderthal bones recovered from the Tracermae cavern of Goyet, Belgium, has uncovered evidence of selective cannibalism dating to between 41,000 and 45,000 years ago. The remains indicate that adult women and children were disproportionately affected. For the first time, researchers were able to establish the biological profiles of the individuals, revealing that they came from outside the local group. Cut marks and other indications on the bones closely resemble those seen on animal remains processed for food at the same site, suggesting that the bodies were consumed as a nutritional resource rather than part of a ritual practice. The findings published in scientific reports came from an international collaboration involving scientists from CNRS, I guess the University of Bordeaux and the University of Marseille. Cannibalism focused on outsiders. When placed within the broader context of the Middle Paleolithic era, a period in Northern Europe characterized by cultural diversity among Neanderthal groups and the growing presence of Homo sapiens in nearby regions, the evidence points towards a possible intergroup conflict. See, these are the bones that they ate the meat off of. The targeted consumption of individuals identified as outsiders may reflect territorial pressures or competition between neighboring groups during a time of social and environmental change preceding the disappearance of Neanderthals in the region. So, as Homo sapiens start to incur upon their ranges, they eat each other. I mean, the conclusions draw on a decade of multidisciplinary research that re-examined the Goyette collection. Scientists combined DNA sequencing, radiocarbon dating, and isotopic analysis to determine the age and geographic origin of the individuals. They also used digital reconstructions to study highly fragmented bones in detail, allowing for a more precise morphological assessment and clearer understanding of the events that took place at the site thousands of years ago. Reference highly selective cannibalism in the late Pleistocene of the Northern Europe reveals Neanderthals were targeted prey by Quentin Kosaroy, Isabel Crevecoeur, Patrick Samal, Matasia Hajanak, Alba Bosums Mesa. I'm not going to read all them damn names. The research was funded by the French National Research Agency. So yeah, you're right. You're right, Jared Taylor. You're right. There are different types of humans, right? Just have to add that for a scientific note to this roast.
Knowledge accumulates over time, but not in this area. It's just about impossible to go to college without being told that race is not a biological fact, that it's a social construct, just an idea. But there are people who look like this, and this, and this, and like this. These are obvious biological differences. Do these differences look like social constructs to you? Companies like 23andMe can tell exactly what your racial makeup is, even how much of you is British, Scandinavian, Iberian, Native American, right down to a fraction of a percentage point. But that just proves that DNA sequencing machines are tricked by social constructs, right? Even lice apparently are fooled by social constructs. That's why white children are 35 times more likely than black children to get head lice. Now, take a look at these two skulls, especially around the eyes. One is Chinese and the other is Australian Aborigine. A 5-year-old child could tell them apart as easily as he could sort cucumbers and zucchinis. Are the differences between cucumbers and zucchinis a social construct? Scientists at Ohio State University have found that you can tell someone's race just from the types of bacteria that live in his mouth. There are all sorts of race differences: gestation time, hair type, bone density, fat distribution, average height, age at first menstruation, twinning rates, brain size, myopia rates, disease rates, etc. Take twinning. Black Africans have identical twins at about twice the white rate, and whites have them at about twice the East Asian rate. Even within races, there are substantial differences. This is the Olympic 100-meter final. Every runner is not just black, They are blacks of West African origin. That's the way it's been in every 100-meter final in the last 10 Olympics, except for one Slovenian, Matic Osvrikar, in 2007. There he is, on the very right, finishing 7th. And here are the typical leaders in the long-distance events, all East Africans. Could it be that they're just better at these events than the rest of us? So what common sense tells you, what your own eyes tells you, is true. Race is a biological fact. It's not some screwy way of seeing differences that aren't really there. But there's tremendous pressure to deny the obvious. It's bad enough to point out that Jamaicans make better sprinters than Mexicans. But if you point out that the average Japanese is smarter than the average Haitian, oh, watch out. But why would anyone think that every group is equal? Why would you think that South American Indians, for example, could build a high-tech society just like the Koreans? Why would you think Congolese could have come up with nuclear physics or grand opera? There is no evidence at all for equality. There are about 14,000 school districts in the United States. In every one, East Asians get better.
Now, when white people start with this bullshit about how intelligence is genetic, I always ask them, I don't try to argue with their notion that intelligence is genetic. I always ask them, well, playing chess is something that intelligent people do, right? And they say, yeah. And I say, when you playing chess, well, seeing 3 moves ahead at least, and foresight is that will be a skill associated with intelligence, because that's needed to play chess, right? And they always agree. And I say, oh, okay. So if foresight is part of intelligence and intelligence is genetic, well, why didn't y'all have the foresight to not burn down all of those black and flood out all of those black towns, only to end up complaining about black people moving into your neighborhoods 40 years later? Y'all couldn't see that coming? If black people had nice towns of their own, with some common parts and some richer parts, and they were self-contained, what did you think was going to happen when you displaced them? I've never gotten an answer to that question in 30 years. I've never gotten an answer to that question in 30 years for all of the white people that say that intelligence is genetic.
Grades than whites, and whites get better grades than blacks. Isn't the simplest explanation the most plausible? That Asians, on average, are naturally smarter than whites, and whites.
Whenever a white person brings this up, see, Asian people need to tell white people, when you making your racist talking points, G, leave me out of that shit. Leave me out of that. Asian people, that's what I would like y'all to do. Tell white people, tell white folks, hey, look. I understand you don't like black people. That's your choice. But when you make these whack-ball ass arguments, man, leave us the fuck out of that, please. 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 That's what Asian people should do. Ask white people, leave them out of they bullshit ass arguments. This is why I say that, right? The reasons that Asians tend to excel at academics are environmental and cultural. It has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with genetics. See, when y'all brought Asian people here, y'all started the Chinese Exclusion Act. And these people could not do all, they didn't have access to all of the different career paths and shit that everybody else had. Y'all wouldn't let them stay here unless they was merchants. I know And that's why I always dissect this shit. This is the same shit. Look, on the Inside Science Guy, they used to, people would actually pay me to debate white supremacists. We would sit up in the day room and people would pay me and the white supremacists, they would pay us like $20 a piece to have a 3-hour debate, a 3-hour strict moderated debate, 5 minutes at a time to talk. And I will come out there, bring me some motherfucking lemonade and a goddamn clipboard and a pen, a legal pad and a pen, to write down his relevant points so I could agree with him what I have in the outburst. When you see people in strict moderated debates, that's what they writing down. They writing down, they doing making shorthand notes of the things that they said. But Science Guy writes, dudes like Jared Taylor engage in the most ahistorical rhetoric ever. Intelligence has been shown to be environmental. Many of the stats they show are carried are done in bad faith. Yeah, it is. It's idiocy. When y'all let Asian people come here, y'all enacted the Chinese Exclusion Act. And because y'all enacted the Chinese Exclusion Act, Asians had only a very select few career paths that they could go down. And most of those career paths involved either running a store or running a business. So if you don't have being a farmer available to you, like people like they was back then, if you don't have working in a car company, working on an assembly line, or being an automotive mechanic, or being an operating engineer, if none of that is available to you, and trust me, the operating engineers have been in trade since 1894. If professional sports aren't available to you, if none of these other career paths that white people and black people back then were participating in were available to Asians. So because they only had a couple of things that they could do, guess what? They became specialists in them, dumb motherfucker. Of course, you gonna have superior mathematic abilities if you can't do shit but count all day. Duh. I thought you white motherfuckers was smart. Wasn't no calculators back then. They had to keep track of that shit with a goddamn abacus. Every fucking penny. And since y'all wouldn't give blacks loans to start their own motherfucking stores, y'all told the Chinese, oh, you gotta go open up your store around the niggas. So they got access to all of this capital, and all they can do all day is count. That's all they can do all day. And since they don't have these other career paths or these other potential dreams as diversions, all they can do is focus on academics. You really think that a Chinese boy living in San Francisco in the 30s thought that he was going to make the goddamn New York Yankees? No. No. He knew his ass had to go to school. Now, compare the test scores of these Chinese people with the Chinese people from China, and they much, much fucking higher. Because the Chinese people in China, they haven't been in the same environment. I know they know this shit. You know what? Maybe some of these dumb motherfuckers don't. Maybe the penis envy is that deep. Let's go.
Are smarter than blacks. Wherever you find Chinese, Hong Kong, San Francisco, Malaysia, Paris, Singapore, Berlin, or even right around the corner from where you live, they're doing well. Wherever you find blacks, they're usually not doing so well. Is this a worldwide white supremacy?
Wherever you find blacks, they not doing so well. You know, even though we had you in slavery for 400 years, even though when you came out of slavery and started building your own shit, we burnt it down. Even though we wouldn't let you have a job, even though we wouldn't give you business loans, and you had to depend on runners' numbers to get loans from. Even though we looked the other way while Italians and the Irish mob extorted all of your businesses. Even though we had to come up with a whole motherfucking extra layer of the United States government just to marginally impede workplace discrimination on the basis of race, we don't understand why you guys aren't doing so well. You know what this is like? You know what this is like sometimes? And I hate to say it, but you know what this is like? This is like catching your bitch on her knees with a dick in her hand with a mouth full of nut, and then she turn around to you and say that you work too much. It don't take that long to suck a dick, no matter how long you work, and she could have sucked your dick. But because you work too much, she sucked that other dick and got caught in your house. That's in essence the level of gaslighting that's taking place right here. Or you know, and this happened to white boys all the time. You marry some bitch, some po bitch out the trailer parks. And then, you know, 10 years later and 30 pounds later, you know, you catch her on a dating site and she talk about how she thinks she can do better. That's the level of gaslighting that's taking place here, man. Let's go.
This is plot. As the authors of the book, The 10,000-Year Explosion, point out, the chances of every population group having evolved into a state of equality is as likely as tossing a handful of silver dollars on the floor and having every one of them land on its edge. Well, what does science tell us about this? Intelligence is under very substantial genetic control, and we're beginning to find out which actual gene variants make some people and some groups smarter than others. In a 2015 article in the academic journal Intelligence, PhD candidate David Piffer studied 9 different gene variants, biologists call these alleles, that are associated with intelligence. He chose these alleles because their effect on intelligence has been confirmed in several studies, and their
same thing, Lion. Same thing, bro. Same thing. Lion writes, just check black demographics. Asians and Ghanaians out-earn white Americans. What's Jared's excuse? That's because the same thing with these motherfuckers from Ghana that come here. First of all, they get government subsidized. Remember, we went over that like about a week and a half ago. They get government subsidized. The other thing is that they don't have all of these different career paths to go into. They just don't. Mostly because the population of Ghanaians is concentrated in northern suburban areas and northeastern suburban areas. Therefore, they go into the white collar career path that's traditionally been available to them since they started bringing their ass to replace us here in the 50s.
Frequency has been studied in quite a few different populations. The results are no surprise. Whites and Asians are more likely than blacks to have the most favorable combinations. Piffer's findings can be graphed like this. On the horizontal axis is what is called a polygenetic score. This represents the effect of having favorable or unfavorable combinations of these 9 alleles. At the left are the least favorable combinations, the ones associated with lower intelligence. Here you find black populations. The most favorable combinations are towards the right, where you find Japanese and Northern and Southern Han Chinese. On the vertical axis are the best figures available for national IQ scores. As you can see, the clear trend is that as the polygenetic score increases, so does national IQ. The dotted line is the trend line. What this means is that on the basis of just these 9 alleles, you can make a pretty accurate prediction of national IQ. As science advances and more intelligence-related alleles are discovered, it should be possible to make even more precise predictions. Now, there are going to be many alleles that have an effect on intelligence, and this study is only a small part of the picture, but it is powerful evidence that racial differences in intelligence are due at least in part to genetic differences. Well, what are the chances the New York Times or the network news will tell you about David Piffer's study? 0. A lot of people don't want you to know this stuff. Noam Chomsky, the famous lefty intellectual, says that studies like this are, and I quote,
"Oh, I was remiss in not mentioning something. When he talks about you usually see blacks not doing that well, do y'all know what brings down when we get compared to other racial groups as far as income goes? Do you know what drags us down? It's not going to surprise y'all when I tell y'all. The black single mother-led household being 78% below the fucking poverty line is what drags us down. 78%. No, I'm sorry, 72%. 72%. It's 72% of black female-led households are below the poverty line, while only 21% of two-parent black households are below the poverty line, and only 18% of black single father-led households are below the poverty line. That's what drags us down. And when you want to talk about black single women, well, who set that up? Who brought Gloria Steinem and that goddamn banana boat nigga tether bitch Jane Pittman in the motherfucking 70s? White people did. Just thought I'll let y'all know that.
Of no scientific interest and of no social significance except to racists and sexists. Daniel Dennett, who was a philosopher at Tufts University, says that if he came across research like this, he would be, and I quote,
and what did I talk about? What did I talk about yesterday, Lion? Right around the time of Bacon's Rebellion. What did I tell y'all? Coming out of Bacon's Rebellion. Bacon's Rebellion ended in 1677. So just 4 years later, I got it. We're white. Told y'all, boy.
Strongly tempted to misrepresent it, to caricature it for the public good. Howard Gardner, who was famous for theories about multiple intelligences, he says, and I quote, "I do not condone investigations of racial differences in intelligence because I think that the results are likely to be incendiary." These people want to suppress the truth. And this leads to the question of why people deny the obvious and say there's no such thing as race. I think there are 2 reasons. First, if all groups are basically identical, that leaves only one explanation for why blacks don't do so well, and it's white racism. You can blame white people for black poverty, illegitimacy, crime, HIV rates, etc., etc. And if you make white people feel guilty, you can get things from them. The other reason to pretend there's no such thing as race is to soften white people up for being replaced. Well, how does that work? Today, there is a huge flow of people from non-white countries into white countries.
Well, maybe, Jared Taylor, if y'all didn't invest y'all whole identity in being a buffer class for the 12 families, this wouldn't be happening to y'all. Y'all decided to be a buffer class for them, and now they decided that they want to replace your ass. They always break their toys. They're going to break y'all just like they're going to break black women.
Third world people from failed countries want to live in successful countries that they themselves couldn't have built. And white people are a soft touch. They have a record of letting in people from failed countries, especially people from failed countries. But white people are beginning to realize this is not a good deal. People from Haiti or El Salvador, Syria or Algeria are pouring in. And if enough of them come, native white people will be outnumbered and their countries will be permanently changed. However, if you can persuade white people that there's no such thing as race, that we are all absolutely the same, then it's okay if we're outnumbered and replaced, because we're being replaced by ourselves. Of course, if you swap out whites and swap in someone else, you end up with something different. We tried that in Detroit and in Baltimore. And
I'm not letting them have that one. I'm not letting them have that one. The problem with Detroit, motherfucker, is not black people. The problem with Detroit is private equity. That's the problem with Detroit. Private equity. Private equity shut down a lot of them factories in Detroit, and now don't nobody have shit to do. There's no more money there. So white people like him, they really think that black people would prefer to struggle trying to hustle on the fucking streets and looking over their shoulder for the stick-up man and looking over their shoulder for the police rather than just going to a job or a good paying job. Think about how idiotic this is. Oh yeah, I'd rather stand out here with a 1,000 bag pack of crack. I'd rather stand out here with a G pack, with a little bitty plastic bag with 100 pieces of crack in here. I'd rather stand out here and get $3 off of each bag, if you lucky. I'd rather stand out here 3 days. Think about this. I would rather stand out here in the freezing fucking cold and make, if I'm lucky, $300 in 3 days. Can't go home and wash my ass. Gotta piss in the alley. Gotta go run in Burger King and take a shit. I'd rather stand out here for 72 fucking hours, 48 hours straight to make this $300 than just get a decent paying fucking job and make that in a couple of days in only 8 hours. I'd rather work 48 hours ducking death or incarceration to make the same money I can at a decent paying job in 16 hours. You white motherfuckers couldn't be that stupid. The problem with Detroit and Baltimore are the fucking same. There's no opportunity because of private equity. And guess what, Jared Taylor? There are majority white areas that's the same way because of private equity. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is what I mean by you are caping for the buffer class even though they eating your lunch too.
in South Central LA. So the reality of race is not just an academic question. It affects virtually every important social policy. It affects the very future of our country and of the entire West. And if we get this question wrong, there's only one group that's going to pay. That's white people. We better get it right. Thanks for watching. And be sure to subscribe to our...
Hey, get your goofy ass out of here. Get your goofy ass out of here. All right, man. Y'all know what the fuck time it is. Goofy ass shit. Let me tell this dumb motherfucker something. First of all, if intelligence was so motherfucking genetic, maybe you white motherfuckers could figure out how to make your wives come if it was so motherfucking genetic. If intelligence was so genetic, like I said, you wouldn't have burnt down all of them and flooded out all of them all black towns, only to complain 40 years later about black people want to live amongst you. If intelligence was genetic, you dumb motherfuckers would have desegregated the armed forces on day one of World War I, which would have led to a much shorter war. It was wartime. Y'all could have made special provisions. And then y'all could have had black people come right back to being, them black men come right back to living in segregation like they was after the war. Same thing with World War II. Who knows how many white boys' lives that y'all cost trying to segregate a motherfucking war? That is the all the people that's supposed to be military masterminds that have wore a uniform of the United States Armed Forces. That's one of the dumbest motherfucking decisions that y'all even made, was to keep the armed forces segregated in basically an existential war. I would have thought that, you know, making it sure that y'all was gonna win that war was more important than more important than penis envy. But oh no, white people never fucking fail to disappoint when it comes to that. Never fail. It never fucking fails. Never fails. Never fucking fails. Never fails. If intelligence was genetic, when those black women came into y'all towns wanting to work in them red light districts, y'all would have told them to get the fuck out. Y'all would have told them to get the fuck out. If intelligence was genetic. Because by y'all accepting those women in there, then y'all made all type of future controversies to try to decide who's white, to try to have to do background checks and evaluate people and see was they just passing for white. Y'all won't have to worry about if nobody was passing for white if y'all would have made sure that everybody was white. But y'all just wanted the segregation part. That's all y'all wanted. Y'all couldn't the few of y'all that lusted after black women, you couldn't overcome your lust. But I thought intelligence was genetic. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. But the Republican Party, y'all need to start doing some gatekeeping. Y'all need to start asking, who the fuck are Republicans? Who's really a Republican? This motherfucker is not really a Republican. No conservative is really a Republican. You want to know why they're not real Republicans? They're not real Republicans because they espouse many of the fucking positions of Democrats, many of the historical positions of Democrats, many of the antebellum slavery positions of Democrats. You have some people like this extremist moron loser that are actually still advocating for segregation. I thought that was supposed to be left up to Democrats. That's always been their position. Are you a Republican? Are you a Republican? Are you a fucking Republican? The fucking Republican Party is going to lose tremendous ground by letting it be these bullshit ass blurred lines between or a conservative. No, are you a Republican? They need to start making that where we don't acknowledge people that are conservatives. There's no such thing as a conservative party on the ticket. That's Republicans. That's what they need to start saying, and they need to start telling motherfuckers like this, "Hey, you don't speak for us." Matter of fact, you sound like goddamn it, you sound like goddamn it Jefferson Davis. How you gonna call yourself a Republican? And people that are in the Republican Party, instead of trying to coddle up to these demagogues' fan bases, they need to straight up ask them, do you even know what a Republican is? Do you know the history of the party? No, I don't know who that is. Yeah. Are you a Republican? Are you really a motherfucking Republican? Because you couldn't be. You're advocating for segregation. You basically talking about eugenics. All of those are Democratic positions. And even inside of the real, true, authentic definition of what conservatism is supposed to be, you're not even a conservative. In a constitutional republic, the media will try to gaslight you and say, oh, well, the Republicans were the radicals back then. That's fucking bullshit. The Republicans were not the fucking conservatives back then. I mean, were not the fucking radicals back then. They were conservatives. When you look at miscegenation laws, when you look at black codes, when you look at Jim Crow laws, those are all evidence of governmental meddling in the daily affairs of people. That is an extra layer of legislation, an extra layer of laws that's added. That is under the purview of Democrats. That's what they do. They always want to add layers to government. Look at the Roosevelt administration, if you want an example. All race-based laws were government intrusions into the lives of Americans, not just black ones, but white ones too. Conservatism means that you don't want that intrusion. That's what real conservatism means. So what the media and the academic system will try to gaslight you and say was a radical position back then, that black people are human beings too, was not a radical position. It was a constitutional one. It was a constitutional one. It was a constitutional one. No, the Democrats are now and always have been and always will be leftists. Watch this. The same way that they asking for funds for them sanctuary cities. Where all we know that all sanctuary jurisdictions are about maintaining seats in Congress despite congressional apportionment. They are about maintaining a certain number of electoral votes. That's what all sanctuary jurisdictions are about. It's obvious. But guess what though? They want the American taxpayer, whether they agree or not, to subsidize it. And that's the same way they was about abortion. And guess what, y'all? That's the same way they was about slavery. They wanted the average American public, whether they agreed with it or not, to subsidize slave owners back in antebellum slavery. You know how? Because when they had to build all of those garrisons down there to guard against free blacks out of Spanish territory, South Georgia and Florida, or out of Indian lands, when they had to build all those extra forts, remember, they didn't have an IRS back then. The only way that our government could raise revenue back then was off of tolls taken from foreign ships entering American ports, by taxes on alcohol and tobacco, and a corporate tax rate. And so when they needed more money for military expenditures, the only place they could go was to raise the corporate tax rate. They didn't want to raise the tax on tobacco and alcohol because people would just bootleg it and then they wouldn't get no tax money. They didn't want to raise the tax on firearms because then people would say, hey, you trying to inhibit the Second Amendment. And they was dead on that shit back then. They didn't want to raise the tax on foreign ships coming to American ports because that would impede commerce. Raising the corporate tax rate was the only way they could do it. The only place to go. The only recourse available to them. Right? And we all know that inevitably any expense, any additional operating expense incurred due to taxation by any company back then would have automatically been passed on to the customer. So therefore, the American taxpayer would have been subsidizing slavery. Now, the practice of successfully finagling somebody to pay for something that's politically expedient to you, whether they agree with it or not, has always been the purview of the Democratic Party from day fucking one. So never could you gaslight a nigga that can actually read and tell me that the Republicans were the radicals back then. The Republicans have always been the fucking conservatives, because it's a very radical position in a constitutional republic for your vision of this country to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant ethno state. That's a very radical position within the purview of a constitutional republic. So your monetized penis envy, based off of your psychosis and your obsession with black men, never could you call it conservatism, because conservatism once again is wanting to mitigate and limit government intrusion into the daily lives of Americans and reduce taxation. Your shit that you talk about race has absolutely nothing to do with that. I'm going to ask you this again. Are you a motherfucking Republican? Do you know what it means? for this motherfucker Jared Taylor, for Nick Fuentes, Adam Walsh, all of them. Do you really know what a Republican is? Because if you call yourself a Republican, if they brought back Eugene La Follette and all of the Republicans from the 19th century, they'd be ready to smack the shit out of you, quite frankly. And a lot of them didn't even like black people like that. But they understood, because they were operating from a place of pragmatism, they understood that, hey, look, this shit is unsustainable. This slavery shit is unsustainable. This segregation shit is unsustainable. It weakens us as a country. They understood that. Why the fuck don't you understand that? If you're supposed to be a Republican, right? And your penis envy, your skewing the facts, your constant gaslighting, your constant victim blaming, your constant victim Olympics is unsustainable too. And it's even making you look so bad that it's beginning to harm your own motherfucking birth rate. You white motherfuckers thought that you were going to extinguish so-called black people with tetherism, with feminism, with diseases, with all of this shit, and it's all fucking backfired on you. You brought crack to the hood, and lo and behold, it's more white motherfuckers smoking crack than anybody. You gave black women feminism, and they damn near don't even know what it means. Meanwhile, your own white women is running around here shaving the side of their motherfucking head off and painting the rest of their hair turquoise and making clothes for cats all day. You promoted homosexuality amongst black boys. And now you got it to the point where you got married white men in relationships that's willing to meet somebody somewhere in the Walmart parking lot and suck a big veiny one. Everything that y'all peddled, y'all do this interracial dating shit on movies, where every black woman in the movie is jumping on top of a white man's dick. But then you step out of the movie theater and all you see is white women sitting on top of black men's dicks. Everything y'all have tried has backfired. It's unsustainable. And your obsession with black men makes you look like fucking cucks. That's all you talk about. Anything a black man do, you got something to say about it. You got something to say about how niggas wearing their pants. You got something to say about how they getting their hair cut, how much gold they wearing, NIL deals in college, everything. No wonder your wives is lying to you, talking about they going to women's retreats and going to Queen of Spades events and getting spit roasted. You think about black dicks more than they do. All right, man. Y'all want some bonus roast of this white motherfucker? Let me know, man. Y'all want some bonus roast of this white motherfucker? Let me know, man. Hit the cash app, man. Goofy ass nigga, man. Yeah, this felt good too. I ain't roasting no white supremacists in quite a while. I think. Remember when I roasted Colin Flaherty a long time ago? Yeah, man, it's kind of had the same energy. All right, Kwame Kaiju and Rashad Hurst. Thanks for the cash outs. Don't you ever disrespect me coming on TV talking about how intelligence is genetic with that motherfucking thrift store ass blazer on. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me with the motherfucking neck folds in your motherfucking skin looking like a sailboat that ain't full of wind, nigga. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me. You gray on the side, brown on the top, just for men needing ass boy. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me, pale as fuck, vitamin D deficiency face ass boy. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me sitting there looking like the crypt keeper, knuckles fat than a motherfucker, nigga. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me thinking about black dicks all day, all night, and all day and all night until your woman on top of one, boy. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me with your 13 and 50 stat quoting ass, knowing goddamn well that niggas ain't got no night shift and day shift for crime, boy. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me, you motherfucking no lips having, big bushy eyebrow, hairy ear socket, nose hair, gray nose hair ass, pussy ass, boy. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me with them motherfucking liver spots on your goddamn chest, nigga. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me with your motherfucking chest hair looking like silver wires, nigga. Don't you ever disrespect me. You goddamn, you slinky slime pussy motherfucker. Don't you ever disrespect me. Using Asian people for a goddamn political football. Stop involving them in your goddamn arguments. Don't you ever disrespect me. Big camel eared ass dumb motherfucker with your fake ass goddamn statistics and your goddamn gaslight like a bitch. No wonder your women don't respect you. Don't you ever disrespect me. Shit. I bet you your wife somewhere dreaming about a big, bulky ass, girthy ass black dick right now. Pussy motherfucker. Your daughter, your motherfucking daughter, probably got some linebacker niggas shit all on her goddamn windpipe while you up here talking this shit. She probably got bronchitis from the dick, motherfucker. I will never understand what type of cognitive dissonance that you have to believe this shit that these motherfuckers say. You have to believe this shit. You gotta damn near ignore history, politics, what the law is, everything to believe, to even humor this shit. Right? This shit is crazy. All right, man, I'm about to get up out of here, man. Shabbat shalom to y'all, man. This has been a Black Pill PSA. Peace.